What if Jupiter fell into the sun? Imagine the largest planet in our solar system crashing into the heart of our star. Would it cause a massive explosion, or just disappear without a trace? Let's explore this fascinating scenario and uncover what could happen in this cosmic event. First, we need to think about what it actually means for Jupiter to fall into the sun. In space, falling doesn't work like it does here on Earth, where things drop straight down because of gravity. In the solar system, everything is constantly moving. Jupiter, for example, is orbiting the sun at a mind-boggling distance of 778 million kilometers. It's like a massive ball racing around the sun at incredible speeds, held in place by a balance between the sun's gravitational pull and its forward momentum. For Jupiter to leave its orbit and start heading toward the sun, something extraordinary would have to happen. So, what could possibly cause Jupiter to take this unexpected dive? One possibility might involve a rogue star, or a massive black hole passing close to our solar system. Such an object could create an intense gravitational pull strong enough to disrupt Jupiter's orbit, pushing it closer to the sun. Another option could involve a collision with another large object, something massive enough to give Jupiter a serious nudge. But let's be clear, events like this are incredibly rare. The solar system is stable, and such disturbances happen on timescales of billions of years. Still, it's fun and a little mind-bending to think about. Now let's imagine Jupiter starts its long journey toward the sun. It wouldn't just dive in like a rock falling into a pond. Instead, it would slowly spiral inward, a process called orbital decay. As Jupiter gets closer, it would speed up because of the sun's powerful gravitational pull. This journey could take decades, even centuries, depending on how Jupiter's orbit was disrupted. Along the way, it would create spectacular sights, at least for astronomers with telescopes. Jupiter's gases, mostly hydrogen and helium, would start reacting to the intense heat and radiation from the sun. This would create glowing trails and flares, some visible even from Earth, making for an amazing cosmic show. These fiery displays would be both awe-inspiring and terrifying, as Jupiter's once massive atmosphere begins to break apart, igniting in a dazzling array of light. But what happens when Jupiter gets really close? Here's where things get intense. When it reaches a distance called the Roche limit, about 900,000 kilometers from the sun, the planet would start to break apart. The sun's tidal forces, basically the difference in gravity pulling on Jupiter's near and far sides, would stretch and tear it apart. Pieces of Jupiter would start falling into the sun, creating a swirling disk of glowing gas around the star. If you've ever seen a bonfire and tossed in a handful of dry leaves, you can imagine the dramatic effect. The sun would briefly brighten as it absorbed all this extra material. But on the grand scale of the solar system, it wouldn't be a big deal for our star. The extra gas might slightly alter the sun's outer layers, but the fusion process at its core would remain unchanged. Jupiter's destruction would add a little mass, but the sun would continue its cycle, unaffected by the cosmic spectacle unfolding at its surface. Here's the question: would the sun explode if Jupiter crashed into it? Surprisingly, no. The sun is enormous, so massive that it makes up more than 99% of the total mass of the solar system. Jupiter, while huge by planetary standards, is just a fraction of the sun's size, about 0.1%. Adding Jupiter to the sun would be like tossing a pebble into a lake. Sure, it would make a splash, but it wouldn't fundamentally change the lake. The sun would absorb Jupiter's material and keep on shining, just as it always has. This addition of mass might slightly increase the sun's luminosity for a brief moment, but it wouldn't cause any significant changes in its behavior or longevity. The sun would continue its nuclear fusion process, powering the solar system for billions of years to come. What about Earth? Would we feel the effects of this colossal event? The short answer is not directly. The sun might get slightly brighter for a brief period, but it wouldn't be enough to roast our planet or drastically change our climate. However, losing Jupiter would have some serious long-term consequences. Did you know that Jupiter acts like a giant protector for Earth? Its massive gravitational pull helps deflect comets, asteroids, and other space debris that might otherwise head our way. Without Jupiter, Earth would be at a much higher risk of impacts from these planet killers. That's not something we'd want to lose. Another big question is whether Jupiter's disappearance would destabilize the rest of the solar system. Jupiter's gravity doesn't just protect Earth, it also influences the orbits of other planets. Without Jupiter's stabilizing effect, the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter could become chaotic, sending chunks of rock hurling towards the inner planets, including Earth. And while it's unlikely that Earth's orbit would be dramatically affected, even small changes over time could disrupt our seasons and climate, making life on Earth more challenging. Now, let's take a moment to marvel at just how massive and important Jupiter is. Imagine the sun as a giant bonfire, the size of a football stadium. Jupiter, by comparison, would be like a marshmallow. If you toss that marshmallow into the fire, it might cause a little puff of smoke, but it wouldn't change the fire itself. That's essentially what happens if Jupiter falls into the sun. It's a big event for Jupiter, but barely a hiccup for the sun. The sun's immense size and energy would absorb Jupiter's material without any significant disruption, continuing its eternal fusion process unaffected. Jupiter's mass also plays a huge role in shaping the solar system. With more than 300 times the mass of Earth, it's like a gravitational anchor. It's the reason why the solar system is so orderly, and why the smaller planets, like ours, have relatively stable orbits. If Jupiter were removed from the picture, it would be like cutting loose one of the solar system's anchors. Things would fall apart immediately. But over millions of years, the delicate balance of planetary orbits could shift, leading to unpredictable orbital changes, potential collisions, or even altering the asteroid's belt structure. The system's overall stability would be at risk. So, could we actually see any of this from Earth? For the most part, the dramatic events would be visible only with advanced telescopes. As Jupiter approaches the Sun, we might detect bright flares, bursts of radiation, or even gravitational waves, ripples in space-time caused by the massive transfer of energy. These waves are faint, but instruments like LIGO, Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, could potentially pick them up. So, the next time you look up at the night sky, take a moment to appreciate the delicate balance that keeps everything in its place. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our latest updates. Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We'll see you guys next time.